Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do kind of a video on a project that I want to do. So recently I read a really good book called Jane Austen's Bookshelf, a rare book collector's quest to find the women writers who shaped a legend by Rebecca Romney. I listened to this on audio, but this is a book I had to buy because it was so informative on 8 writers who mostly wrote before Jane Austen. And they were very popular during their time, but we have lost track of some of these over the years because they're not like in the canon, because Jane Austen kind of was the one picked, but these all people were ones that she read from or knew about. And this book was really fascinating because again, it had 8 biographies of women. Some of them I knew and read from before, and other ones I didn't know anything about. So it was really fascinating. I will reread this at some point because I just found so much. I wanted to mark this up, or not, well, tab it, for certain things that she said about the writers and their life and their books. But again, I want to read more of the books before I go back and read this in some ways. And there's a little bit of Jane Austen here, but not, it's really about the writers of her time and who wrote in the late 1700s, early 1800s. And I think it was a fascinating nonfiction. So I would highly recommend that. But it does bring up that I have already started looking at Jane Austen, the books that Jane Austen has mentioned in her letters and Northanger Abbey, and little references in other parts of her books for authors. And I have read a few, but I've also collected quite a few books from those authors that I want to try. So I have 5 of them. I have books from here that I'd like to read. I might still pick up ones from some of the other authors. Like one is a playwright, so I might pick up the some of her stuff. I should probably pick up is it Lover's Vows that's in Mansfield Park? That one. I never read that, but they mentioned Archibald, who wrote it, and I'm like, I should really read that play. I just never have gotten around to it. So I will probably read that one as well. But these are some novels. There are other novels I might pick up along the way, but right now this is so I'm doing kind of a small, my own Jane Austen's bookshelf project, mostly because these are books I already own. 6 of these books I own physically to read off my shelf. So I think I should read them. So anyway, I'm going to go through them. There are a couple of them. The first 2 I'm going to talk about are authors I have read a book from before, but I'd like to continue into their catalog. The first one is Anne Radcliffe, and I have read a lot of Anne Radcliffe. I've read everything but for 2 novels. I'm not going to read the partial novel that was published later after her death, because again, it's partial and I don't need to read that. But I've never read The Mysteries of Udolpho, which is her most famous. I have not read this one. I keep putting it off because of its size. And I read some of her shorter ones. And I also have The Romance of the Forest, which is another one I haven't gotten to yet. So I do want to read these. I'm going to focus first on The Mysteries of Udolpho because this is she was known for Gothic literature, so most of her stuff is adventurous. Poor women who are getting into messes that they can't get themselves out of very well. And they're written in a style that, again, was emulated by many, many others afterwards. And she was somebody who was very, very popular. But, then she got kind of got a bad rap, which is not right. I think these are fun. I don't think they're the best things ever, but I think they're very interesting, and I do want to get to The Mysteries of Udolpho sooner rather than later, and then hopefully later this year I can pick up The Romance of the Forest to finish off my Anne Radcliffe reading, because I have enjoyed not all of her books. I didn't really care for her debut, but everything else I've enjoyed, at least. So I do want to continue with Anne Radcliffe. I've also read one book by Frances Burney. I read Evelina a couple of years ago, which was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. And again, it wasn't the best thing ever, but it was a really good epistolary novel about a young woman's going into society and how things could go wrong again. So anyway, I have Cecilia, which was their next novel, which was really popular too. But I don't know. I think it has to do with a woman in her I don't know if it's in that she has to do something with her inheritance or ship. I don't remember what this one's about. Doesn't matter. I own it. And I want to get Camilla, which is the next one. It's also just as big. And then I think she has a third book called The Wanderer, which I don't know anything about. So I do want to try to get to Cecilia this year. Maybe Jane Austen July. Because again, a lot of these books I've picked up due to that readathon that is put on in the summer in July. And I really enjoy taking part in that. But mostly, again, some of these I've heard about since college. I did study Jane Austen in college quite a bit. So, again, a lot of these I knew their names, but I have not read all their books yet, of course. But Frances Burney's one I do want to try again, another bookworm, because I bought this one and I would like to get to Cecilia at some point. I'm hoping this year. Again, if I'd known I was going to do this project, I could have done this for March of the Mammoths, because this is over 900 pages, but I didn't. Another author that Jane Austen really liked, but I have not tried yet, which is Maria Edgeworth. I have Belinda on my shelf. So this is, I know, a novel of courtship, and that's about all I know. This is a book that I've been wanting to get to for quite a long time. I know that Shawn Breathed Books and I have talked about maybe doing a buddy read on this a couple years ago. So if he is up for that, let me know. But this is a book I do want to get to at some point. Hopefully, I would like to do it this year or early next year. But again, Edgeworth is definitely one of Jane Austen's favorite novelists. So I do want to start reading her books. And again, I have Belinda, which is supposed to be her most popular. So I'd like to try to get to that. So anyway, another one I'd like to try. An author that I didn't know a lot about, but I found her biography one of the most interesting in the Jane Austen's bookshelf book is Charlotte Lennox. This is the female Quixote. So this was her most popular, I think, that she did. She was also connected to Samuel Johnson, which another one of the biographies also talked about somebody connected to him. So it's kind of interesting. And she was definitely one of the writers who was writing because she had to, for money-wise. She needed to make money to support her family. So I don't know a whole lot about this, except I think the woman, I don't know if she just does things differently than everybody else. I think that's the whole point. But anyway, I don't know a lot about this, but this is a book, another one I'd like to try to get to hopefully soon and try her writing. And then another one is Emmeline by Charlotte Smith. So this is one I picked up a couple of years ago, probably because I heard about it somewhere on Jane Austen July, because this is one of the ones I didn't know. I didn't recognize her name at all. And she was very popular during this period for novels. And this one, it was her first novel, and it's about abduction, duels, and a fairy tale princess, in quotes. So I don't. So it sounds interesting. It's supposed to be even kind of semi-autobiographical. So I'm kind of confused. We'll see how it goes. So I couldn't find a great copy. This is just, but anyway, it's definitely one I want to try. And again, she was also listed in there. And again, she was one I didn't know a whole lot about. So all of these are books I would like to get to sooner rather than later. This project is something I was obviously already kind of started because I've read a few of the authors. But I also, like I said, there's a couple others in the book that I would like to get, like, again, the playwright I would like to get to. There was, well, there's one who's kind of more religious, so I don't think I'm going to read anything about her. I can't remember who. There was another one that was, the Hester Thurell Piozzi, I think is how her name is said. She actually, I have the biography by James Boswell of Samuel Johnson, and she had there's notes from her in there. They've combined the two books because she had a book on Samuel Johnson, and so, and he had his massive biography, and they both knew him in different parts of his life. It's just very interesting. So I have like something from her, but I think she wrote other stuff too. So I might need to check her out. But I feel like that's, and then again, I'll get the play. So, I just said, it's not everything I'm going to read, but I think this is I'm looking at stuff on my shelf that I have bought and I have wanted to read. So anyway, if you guys think there's any of them I should pick up really sooner rather than later, let me know. I'm kind of interested if there's others by these authors that you have read that are good, let me know, so I can add them to my list to read, because I think once I try some of these, I want to maybe expand my collection and get a few more books, because again, I said I do want to probably pick up the other Bernie novels for sure. And again, I want to try more. I want to try Edgeworth, I want to try Smith and Lennox, and I will see how it goes. But anyway, I'm kind of excited for this. And again, I'm hoping to get to the Mysteries of Udolpho very soon. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.